I already said this, that I had a favorite here, but I think these trump that one. Hey friends, we are back for part 2 of the garden tour at my mother-in-law's house, and right now we're starting off on the upper deck. She has a few containers, and they're not her best containers. They have lived their lives this summer, and there are some things she wishes she would have done differently, and she's just trying to figure these spaces out still a little bit, I think. But let's take a look at them. Okay, so this container here, you can kind of see it has the queen tut, and you can see why I love it, because it's dainty and it's super cute, but she has to hold them up with this little stake, otherwise it gets big and it just all flops, and then it just kind of takes over everything else. So I love the way she did use a garden stake here and wrap that around it so they stay upright and they're still super cute. She has some coral calibrachoas and some whirlwind flowers, and she has some lantana in here. I think the lantana, given more space, because it's a smaller container, given more space, I think they would have taken off for her a little bit more, especially now that it gets quite a bit of sun in the late afternoon, and this time of year usually your lantana are going crazy. So that's my only thing, that I would probably maybe do less of something and a little bit more of the lantana if she really wants a pop of that, you know, later in the year, because right now is when they are thriving. This here is in a trough, self-watering container from Maine, and she has some portulaca, some gold dust, some yellow portulaca, some pink portulaca, and a lamb's ear in there, some silver falls, and this gold dust. She did have some of that cherry burst superbena in here at one point, but it just didn't do well. I don't know if this got waterlogged too, but she just, when she was on her pruning rampage, that I called it, me and my sister-in-law Isabel, she was just going, I mean, she would have probably ripped this whole thing out, but we let her rip out the superbenas and keep everything else, because I know the portulacas are similar to that lantana, where they thrive in the heat, and they're going to do really good right now, because they're really good. They're drought tolerant, they're heat tolerant, so right now is the perfect time for them to just be showing off and thriving within the room. Let me just talk about this hosta bed for a second. It is absolutely amazing. They are so big. She's had them for years, and she's transplanted quite a bit of them, divided them, put them other places. I've taken some for my house, and there's a massive one back there that I want to show you guys because it's just huge. I don't know the varieties. I know she's got them from kind of all over the place, so I don't know specific varieties that these are, but they are amazing. And I would have never been a lover of hostas before I've seen this bed, but now I'm like, how can I make a hosta bed? How can I make a shady spot that gets hardly any sunlight? Because I need this. It's so pretty, right? So she always does some really cool just bedding plants here. So I think last year she thought she was getting more shade than what she was, and she did the Rocapolco, I believe it was the Rocapolco Impatiens and the double Impatiens from Proven Winners, and they just didn't do well. It gets way too hot right now, or just all year. It gets too much sun here. So this year we decided to do the Bubblegum and the Super Tunia Bordeaux, and they're doing really good. I thought the Bubblegum would have taken off a little bit more than it has, but it's still doing really good and giving a really pretty color in this front of the bed. And again, she has an elephant ear here, and I'm going to show you a really pretty planter she has right here. Give me 1 second. So this planter has a new begonia in there for 2025, a caladium, a spike, and some chocolate drop coleus, which I love that chocolate drop coleus because it basically spreads and it doesn't get super tall, so you can really use it as a filler / spiller for any of your containers. The chocolate or the cherry drop is really beautiful as well. So just for reference, I mean, look Look how big this thing is. It's massive. It goes up to my hip. I mean, it's as wide as my arms. It's so big, and I love this. It reminds me of the Empress Woo, I believe, from Proven Winners, but I think that one even gets bigger. And I'm trying to get my hands on some, maybe to put here for her. I think that would be really, really cool to have one of those. But this container is a bunch of white sun patience, some diamond frost euphorbia there, and what I wish was blooming to show you guys with like up against the sun patience is my favorite plant of all time. I talk about it all the time. Maybe you guys can guess it, but it's the Superbena amethyst. But that would have been just so pretty without the variegation of the light purples, the dark purples, the whites in it with this white sun patient. But I think they're just, the time for them is a little bit spent, and but I don't mind that they're letting those sun patients show off either. So I'll show you, kind of, we'll go up these steps here, and she has the containers that are incredible right now, and they're more for the shade, and you guys are going to love them. Okay, so this is where she puts, she's tried begonias in the landscape here, which is, these are the Surefire begonias. She's done sun patience. I think she's done some supertunias in the past, but it stays a little bit shaded most of the day, but does get some sun. So it's really hard to use like a true begonia here. It just gets a little bit too much sun, but these are the Surefire begonias, and they do so good in both situations. And I feel really just give a good pop of color. So if you see some like commercial spaces at like hotels and businesses and things like that, you're gonna see either Wartburg begonias or you're gonna see Surefire begonias, and they're just gonna kind of make borders with them, or they're gonna be around treescapes kind of like this. I would say if you're doing a border of these, I would make sure that your centerpiece, or if they're in the landscape, that you have another plant that's a little bit taller, if they're, and not something that's a little bit shorter, because this gets a little bit, I mean, 1 foot, probably 1.5 foot. So you just want to make sure something is getting about 3 foot tall behind it or in the center of it, just so it's not going to overtake the other piece in your landscape. But overall, love these. I think what I would do if differently here maybe is add maybe 5 more, and she agrees. She probably thinks that she probably wish she would have added a few more in here too. But I think next year she should, because they normally mulch this, that if we put some Osmo coat in with this first before, because I think there's quite a few layers of mulch here, that is just going to give it a little bit more nutrients that they're needing, and they'll do so much better for her next year. So last but not least, let's go check out my 2 favorite containers in her gardens right now. Okay, can we just talk about this and appreciate everything that's in here, because it is beautiful. So what she has in here is, she has a licorice plant here, and then a white licorice, and then she has white sun patience and some pink dragonwing begonias in here, and then she has some creeping jenny. I feel like she had something taller in here at one point too, but I don't know if it just didn't make it. Oh no, she has a foxtail fern behind both of these, but these, everything is just kind of hiding it. So I told her just to take the foxtail ferns in, like dig them up, and then after the season just take them inside and make them a houseplant, because they do super well there. But I just love this, and she put this velveteen coleus in here, and I love it. It almost looks like a heuchera, and it just looks like it belongs in the landscape. It's so pretty right here up against this white, and it gives that bright green color with that creeping jenny. So I love this. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Anything with sun patience for me is a 10 out of 10. She also has some chocolate drop coleus over here on the ground. She has some heuchera over here. But yes, I would say these are my all-time favorite that she has around the house right now. Maybe except for, I already said this, that I had a favorite here, but I think these trump that one container with the white Browlia and the Kimberly Queen Fern. I think these trump those. They look so good up here. I absolutely love them. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I hope you enjoyed this garden tour. And I have one more garden tour coming up for you for end of season and the end of the 2024 summer season. So we will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.